Today's episode is sponsored by Lucid Dreams. There's nothing worse than realizing you're in a dream and then getting gaslit by your own brain that you're not in a dream, so you have to keep living through a nightmare. I don't care if these sausages fall down to my knees. I'm over it, and I don't care anymore. Drew Barrymore on being over wearing bras. Insert theme song here. This is the Daily Sarcast. I give you the news and maybe a laugh. I'm Lindsey Vernick, and it's April 15th, 2026. In real news, so Pablo Escobar, the criminal mastermind, part-time zoo creator, once decided his drug compound in Colombia needed hippos. Not security, hippos. He illegally imported 4 of them in the 80s because nothing says low profile like owning the most aggressive animal on earth. Fast forward, he dies, the hippos escape, and now, like a toxic ex who refuses to leave, the situation has multiplied, literally. There are now over 150 of these things roaming around Colombia, and they don't have any predators to go after them either. They're literally destroying ecosystems, polluting rivers, attacking people, and causing traffic accidents. Basically, they're freeloading, violent, and reproducing at a very, very rapid rate. The government doesn't know what to do with them. They can't relocate them. No country wants a crate of animals labeled angry wild hippos from Pablo Escobar. And they can't get sterilized. Turns out you need cranes and a mild death wish to get that done. So now Colombia has landed on this option, euthanizing a large portion of them. People are pretty upset about this. I mean, it's fair. No one wants to be on team let's kill the hippos. That's a tough merch line. But also, they're not like Disney hippos. This isn't Fantasia. They're real aggressive animals wrecking entire ecosystems and hurting people. At a certain point, it's not a moral dilemma, it's damage control. The craziest part about this whole situation is that it exists because one guy decades ago was like, you know what would really complete this property? Hippos. And now an entire country is like, cool, so we're still dealing with this. Anyways, the East Coast is getting hit with a heat wave this week that's less light jacket and more, am I seriously turning my AC all the way up? We're talking 80s, 90s in April. The calendar still thinks it's doing tulips, and the weather is like, nah, we're in summer now. Across the mid-Atlantic region and the Northeast, temperatures are about to smash or flirt with records in hundreds of places, which is fun. Actually, it's not fun at all. While everyone's like, yay, rooftop drinks, the ground is like, I am literally dying. There's already droughts across huge parts of the country, and the heat is basically throwing a blow dryer on it. Basically all of the U.S. is dry or in drought. Florida is basically one giant dehydrated sponge. The South is begging for rain like it's texting its ex at 2 a.m. And what are we getting instead? A giant atmospheric heat dome just parked over the country like it pays rent. It's pulling warm air up from the Gulf of Mexico, turning the East Coast into a preheated oven. While the West is over there having a totally different personality with cold and snow. So one side of the U.S. right now is like, why is it 95 degrees outside? And the opposite side is like, why is it snowing? And it literally should be the opposite side saying those things. And yes, I know what you're thinking. This isn't random. Scientists are like, this is what happens when climate change starts getting a little bold. The worst part is it cools down next week, which sounds nice, but actually just means your body gets to experience all 4 seasons and the emotional spam of my last situationship. Not sure if you heard about this one, but yesterday, Donald Trump had a very casual, totally spontaneous moment where a DoorDash driver rolled up to the White House with McDonald's. Enter Sharon Simmons, aka DoorDash Grandma. She was delivering fries, smiles, and what we now know was essentially a scripted cameo. Because yes, she had previously lobbied for Trump's no tax on tips policy. And yes, DoorDash confirmed this whole thing was arranged. So again, not really a delivery. But then things kept getting more and more awkward, of course. So she walks in, she's holding the bags of food from McDonald's, and the first thing Trump says, it doesn't look staged now, does it? Which is exactly what you say when something is very deeply staged. It's like when someone says, I'm not being weird while actively being weird. And then mid-conversation, he hits her with, you voted for me, right? And she goes, maybe, which is honestly the most honest answer given it's in this entire situation. But wait, we're not done spiraling. Instead of letting her, I don't know, leave, he keeps her there while talking to reporters and starts dragging her into completely unrelated topics like election fraud, culture war questions, should men play in women's sports? And she literally said, I don't have an opinion. And she literally was just there to bring nuggets. At one point, she actually tried to redirect the president, saying, no, I'm here about, and he cuts in with pizza. Dude, you ordered McDonald's. Stay focused. Then a reporter asks if the White House tips well, and before she can answer, Trump pulls out cash and hands it to her on camera. It was giving live action Yelp review manipulation. And you can literally feel her recalibrating in real time. Yeah, actually, oh my God, incredible tippers, 5 stars, no notes. Okay, this whole thing was supposed to highlight this no tax on tips policy, which sounds great until you realize it's capped, it's temporary, and most people aren't getting anywhere near the viral 11K number that keeps being thrown around online. So now this whole thing turned into a very staged, awkward, and politically confusing moment. And the most uncomfortable part at the end was that he invited her and her husband to a UFC fight mid-interaction. To make matters even worse, if they could get worse, the DoorDash PR guy went online after and was trying to clean up the mess in real time. And he basically was responding to people on Twitter nope, she's a real dasher and a grandma. No one was debating that, dude. It's like saying the waiter was real, the restaurant is fake. At one point, he was basically arguing with the entire internet like it was a press conference. Exactly, that's the problem. Honestly, the darkest part of this whole thing is the underlying story that she's working extra jobs, like delivering on DoorDash while her husband is going through cancer treatment. And instead of this becoming a real conversation about wages or healthcare, it turned into a staged photo op about a shitty tax policy with questionable math. In Lindsey life, I love getting a text around 5 o'clock every day while I'm at work from my mom showing me a picture of my dinner that is awaiting my arrival when I get home from work. Things I'm thinking about. I realize that after I say something stupid, but then I say something funny after, it all just cancels out and everybody forgets the stupid thing that you said first. Whenever I reintroduce myself to somebody, 2 more times in a row, forgetting I met them, I was like, oh my God, I'm just kidding. I would never do something like that. They just laugh and walk away, and it ends up being a positive interaction. Can you tell I'm exhausted? Cooking tip of the day. Give your pan a minute to preheat before using it. It will do more for you than most men will. Feedback, comments, questions, a nice Jewish boy looking for a date, email me at lindsey@thedailysarcast.com. Thank you so much for listening. I don't know why my sarcasts are so long this week when I'm so tired, but thank you for listening, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.